For more than 4 centuries, one question has followed the name of Nostradamus through history. Could he really see the future? His name has become almost synonymous with prophecy, mysterious predictions, kings, wars, disasters, and visions of events that had not yet happened. But there is another way to approach his writings, one that may be even more meaningful for the modern world. What if the most important thing hidden inside the writings of Nostradamus was not a prediction of what would happen tomorrow, but a warning about how human beings behave today? What if his strange images of war, ambition, fear, rulers, disasters, and social upheaval were not simply windows into the future, but mirrors reflecting the weaknesses of human nature? The more closely we examine his writings, the less they resemble a simple calendar of future events. Instead, they resemble fragments of a dark and complicated meditation on humanity. One of the most famous examples is Quatrain I-35, traditionally translated in versions of the text as describing a young lion overcoming an older one in a field of combat, followed by a wound to the eye and a cruel death. For centuries, readers have connected this verse with the death of King Henry II of France, who was fatally injured in a jousting accident in 1559. The resemblance is striking enough to make the story fascinating. But there is an important lesson hidden behind the legend. The famous connection became established after the event rather than functioning as a clearly documented warning beforehand. Modern scholars have therefore questioned the claim that Nostradamus had specifically predicted Henry II's death. And this distinction matters, because human beings have a powerful tendency to look backward and create patterns. When something dramatic happens, we search through old words, old scriptures, old prophecies, old dreams, and old symbols. We find something that appears to match, and suddenly the past seems to have known the future. But perhaps the deeper lesson is not that humans can see everything before it happens. Perhaps the lesson is that humans desperately want certainty. We want to believe that chaos has a hidden script. We want to believe that somewhere, somehow, someone already knew what was coming. And that desire is still alive today. Every time people search for predictions about an economic collapse, a war, a technological revolution, a political crisis, or an approaching disaster, they are not simply searching for information. They are often searching for reassurance. Nostradamus becomes fascinating because his writings allow us to confront that uncertainty. His verses rarely provide the kind of clear, simple explanation people want. Instead, they leave us standing inside the fog. And perhaps that is exactly where the life lesson begins. Consider another famous passage, Quatrain X-72, which contains the well-known reference to the year 1999 and a great king of Angoumois associated with the figure descending from the sky. For decades, this verse was treated as a mysterious countdown to catastrophe. When July 1999 arrived, many people expected something extraordinary. But the world did not end. No universally accepted event fulfilled the prediction in the literal way popular culture had imagined. And yet, the story remains important. Why? Because it teaches us something about fear. Fear does not always require evidence. Sometimes uncertainty itself is enough. A mysterious date can become powerful simply because people give it meaning. A rumor can become frightening because thousands of people repeat it. A prediction can become influential not because it has been proven, but because people begin behaving as if it were true. This is one of the oldest patterns in human psychology, and it is remarkably relevant to the modern world. Today, we live surrounded by predictions. Artificial intelligence will change everything. The economy will collapse. A new war will begin. Technology will destroy jobs. The world will become unrecognizable. A particular year will bring disaster. Every day, headlines compete for our attention by telling us what might happen next. Nostradamus therefore becomes less interesting as a fortune teller and more interesting as a psychological mirror. His writings remind us how easily the human mind can become imprisoned by tomorrow. And when we become obsessed with tomorrow, we can forget today. Another important theme appears throughout the world associated with Nostradamus: conflict between rulers, nations, ambitions, and competing forces. Many quatrains contain images of battles, political struggles, destruction, famine, plague, and upheaval. Some readers interpret these literally as predictions of future wars. But symbolically, they can also represent something much closer to home. The battlefield may exist inside the human mind. The king may represent ambition. The enemy may represent fear. The war may represent the conflict between what we want and what we know is right. And the fallen city may represent a life built on foundations that were never strong enough to withstand pressure. This symbolic interpretation gives ancient prophecy a surprisingly modern meaning. Imagine a person who spends 20 years chasing status. They sacrifice relationships. They sacrifice sleep. They sacrifice peace. They accumulate possessions and recognition, believing that happiness is waiting somewhere beyond the next achievement. Then one day, everything they built begins to collapse. Their career may still look successful from the outside, but internally they feel empty. Was that person defeated by an external enemy? Perhaps not. Perhaps the greatest battle was happening within them all along. This is why the mysterious language of Nostradamus can be approached as a meditation on human behavior. The symbols of kings and kingdoms can remind us that power is temporary. The images of destruction can remind us that nothing built by human beings is permanent. The recurring presence of conflict can remind us that unchecked ambition eventually creates consequences. And the uncertainty of the verses can remind us that life itself cannot be controlled completely. There is another fascinating aspect of Nostradamus that often gets lost beneath the mythology. He was not simply a mysterious figure sitting alone and receiving supernatural messages. He belonged to a Renaissance intellectual world deeply influenced by astrology, medicine, religion, classical literature, historical chronicles, and earlier prophetic traditions. His writings drew upon material that existed before him. This means that his work can also be understood as part of a much older human tradition, the attempt to understand history by looking for repeating patterns. Civilizations rise. They become powerful. Their leaders become ambitious. Their societies become comfortable. Then, conflict, corruption, disaster, or internal division appears. Eventually, another civilization takes its place. The names change. The clothing changes. The technology changes. But human behavior often changes much more slowly. That may be the greatest hidden lesson of all. Perhaps Nostradamus did not need to know exactly what would happen in 2050 to say something meaningful about 2050. Because if human beings continue to repeat the same mistakes, the future can resemble the past without any supernatural prediction being necessary. A ruler who becomes obsessed with power can resemble rulers from centuries ago. A society consumed by fear can resemble societies from ancient history. A person destroyed by greed can repeat the same human story that has existed for thousands of years. In that sense, the future is sometimes hidden inside our behavior. Not because destiny is fixed, but because habits create consequences. If we repeatedly choose anger, anger shapes our future. If we repeatedly choose greed, greed shapes our future. If we repeatedly choose compassion, patience, discipline, and wisdom, those choices also shape our future. This transforms the meaning of prophecy. Instead of asking, "What will happen to me?" we begin asking, "What am I doing today that is creating what happens next?" That is a much more powerful question. And perhaps it is the question modern society needs most. There is also a spiritual lesson here. The mysterious writings of Nostradamus often leave readers searching for certainty, but spirituality can teach the opposite, humility before uncertainty. We do not know everything. We cannot control everything. We cannot predict every tragedy. We cannot guarantee tomorrow. But we can choose how we live today. We can choose whether fear controls us. We can choose whether ambition becomes greed. We can choose whether knowledge makes us arrogant or humble. We can choose whether uncertainty makes us panic or become wiser. Maybe that is why ancient prophetic writings continue to fascinate generation after generation. They give us a language for confronting the unknown. But the danger begins when we surrender our judgment to them. A prophecy should not become an excuse to stop thinking. A mysterious verse should not replace evidence. And fear of the future should not steal the present. The legends surrounding Nostradamus also teach us something about storytelling itself. Across generations, people have attached new events to his old verses. Wars, political leaders, disasters, technological changes, and famous tragedies have repeatedly been compared with his words. Some interpretations are intriguing. Others depend heavily on translation, hindsight, or selective reading. And some supposed Nostradamus predictions circulating online are simply fabricated quotations that never appeared in his writings. That is another lesson for the digital age. Not everything mysterious is true. Not everything viral is ancient. Not everything attributed to a famous person was actually said by that person. In a world of artificial intelligence, edited videos, sensational headlines, and social media rumors, intellectual humility has become a form of wisdom. Before believing a prediction, ask where it came from. Before sharing a quotation, ask whether the original text exists. Before allowing fear to control you, ask whether the evidence deserves that fear. These are not merely research skills. They are life skills. And perhaps the most beautiful symbolic reading of Nostradamus is this: the future is not only something waiting to happen. The future is also something we participate in creating. Every decision becomes a small prophecy. Every habit points toward a destination. Every repeated thought strengthens a direction. Every unchecked desire can become a chain. And every conscious choice can become a turning point. The old quatrains may speak of kings, battles, fire, storms, and mysterious celestial signs. But behind those images stands something much more familiar: the human being. The frightened human being. The ambitious human being. The hopeful human being. The human being who wants to know what tomorrow will bring. And perhaps Nostradamus's greatest lesson is not that tomorrow has already been written. Perhaps it is that humanity has always been tempted to forget its responsibility for writing it. So the next time you hear that Nostradamus predicted a particular event, pause before asking whether the prediction is true. Ask a deeper question. What does this story reveal about us? Why do we want to believe it? What fear does it awaken? What desire does it satisfy? And what lesson can we take from it without surrendering our reason? Because the real mystery may not be whether Nostradamus could see the future. The real mystery is whether we can learn enough from the past to stop repeating its mistakes. Centuries may change. Empires may disappear. Technology may transform the world. But human nature still carries ancient shadows. And perhaps that is where the true prophecy lies. Not in knowing exactly what tomorrow will bring, but in recognizing that the choices we make today are already shaping it.